Hello and welcome back to Something Z, and welcome to What If Naruto had the Six Tails Part 2. Last time on the What If, Kakashi fought Zabuza, but Zabuza got killed by a random shinobi wearing a mask, who took him away. And while Kakashi was knocked out from overusing the Sharingan, he was brought to the bridge builder's house to rest. So let's jump into the What If. When Kakashi woke up, he found himself in a new place, and he had to spend a whole week to recover to the point where he can move around, as long as he's on crutches. And the first training that Team 7 did after Kakashi was good enough to move was them learning to walk up vertical angles. And as in the canon, Sakura was able to walk up perfectly the first time, while Sasuke and Naruto had trouble controlling their chakra to the point where they can move around. So they had to spend extra time on training. That night at dinner, Team 7 learns about Inari's stepfather and how he got killed by Gato. And by the end of the story, Naruto feels that he needs to show that there are still heroes in this world to Inari. So after dinner, Naruto decides to continue training. So that night, he trained to the point where he passes out. And when Naruto woke up, he was awoken by Haku, but Naruto believed it was some random girl. Him and Naruto then have a conversation about why Naruto's training so hard, and eventually Haku tells him that someone is only truly strong when they have someone they want to protect. And after Haku leaves, Sasuke shows up to continue training to walk up trees, and eventually they were able to learn how to walk up trees by the end of the day. And Naruto trained really hard those 2 days, so the next day when Team 7 went to protect Tazuna at the bridge, they left Naruto so he could get some rest. And an hour after Team 7 is watching the bridge, Zabuza shows up, with the masked man who apparently didn't kill him. And Sasuke fights Haku, and Kakashi fights Zabuza, while Sakura stays in front of the bridge builder while holding a kunai. While the fight was going on, Gato sent 2 thugs to Tazuna's house, and Naruto was able to save Inari and his mom with the help of his clones on time. And when the thugs were knocked out, Naruto put them in bubbles, and after he made sure they wouldn't be able to escape, he rushed as fast as he could to the bridge. And by the time Naruto gets to the bridge, Sasuke is surrounded by a bunch of ice mirrors, with the masked shinobi inside and attacking him. And Kakashi was busy fighting Zabuza, and seeing that Kakashi was equal to Zabuza, he thought it would be better to fight the masked shinobi. So he tried his hardest to break the mirrors from the outside, but when he could tell it wouldn't work, he ran into Haku's jutsu and stood right next to Sasuke. And after some arguing, Naruto and Sasuke decided to work together, and Naruto made around 10 clones, and they tried to make bubbles to help stop the needles, but they didn't seem to be that effective. And after some time, Naruto started to run out of chakra, and his movements became slower and more sloppy, meaning that Haku could get more hits on him, until eventually he passed out completely. And seeing him as an easy target, Haku threw some needles at him, going for a killing blow. But Sasuke seeing this, he ran as fast as he could to Naruto, and he protected Naruto by getting hit instead. And when the needles hit Sasuke, that's when Naruto wakes up, and the first thing he saw was Sasuke standing right in front of him with needles covering his body. And after a couple of seconds of just standing and breathing heavily, Sasuke finally falls to the ground. After Sasuke fell, Naruto shook him and told him to get up, but after a couple of shakes, Naruto came to the conclusion that Sasuke died in order to protect him. Seeing this, his whole body was filled with just one emotion: rage. And with that rage, Naruto was able to tap into chakra that he had never before. And Saiken, knowing that he wants revenge for his comrade, allows him to take some. And with those 2 actions, the seal opens a little bit, but with that small opening, Naruto starts to get surrounded by an orange chakra. And his body starts to change as well, with his mouth starting to collapse on itself, making it so it no longer has lips. But he does have slits that seem to be openings to his mouth. And overpowered by anger, Naruto didn't care what was happening to his face, but Naruto was able to tell he was stronger. And after he could tell he was done changing, he was able to tell who was the real Haku, because when he saw Naruto change, he tried to run away, but Naruto was able to get to him. And with one punch, he was able to launch Haku through his ice mirrors, making them all shatter. That punch also launched Haku a couple of feet away, so Naruto quickly ran at Haku, and was about to deliver another powerful punch, but Haku's mask fell off at the last second, which made Naruto stop in place, and it made him go back to normal. And after some talking to Haku about his past, and about how Zabuza was the only person who treated him kindly, Naruto had to continue what he had to do, which was he would have to take revenge for Haku killing Sasuke. So he reeled back his fist, and he was about to stab Haku with a kunai from his bag. But right before the attack hit, Haku blocked the attack and said he would not die to Naruto, and Haku disappeared. And after he disappeared, Naruto looked around to see where he went, and eventually he found Haku standing in front of Zabuza, and with Kakashi stabbing him, and by the looks of him, he was dead. And when Haku's body hit the floor, the fight continued between Kakashi and Zabuza, and since there was a mist around the area, no one can really see what everyone else was doing. So now it's the first time that Sakura saw Sasuke's unconscious body, and when she saw it, she ran to his body and started to tear up. And after a couple of minutes, Kakashi was able to immobilize Zabuza, and was able to break both of his arms, so he couldn't hold his sword anymore. After the battle was over, Gato showed up on the bridge with all of his goons, and he tells Zabuza that he's fired, and he tells his goon to kill Zabuza. Then he kicks Haku's body, and Naruto, after seeing Gato kick Haku's body and seeing that Zabuza wasn't affected in any way, he started to yell at Zabuza about how Zabuza meant the world to Haku. And after Naruto was done yelling at Zabuza, he starts to cry and he asks Kakashi for a kunai. which Kakashi puts in his mouth. So after he got the kunai secured in his mouth, Zabuza ran through the group of thugs, and even though he got cut and stabbed, Zabuza kept running. And eventually he got to Gato, and he was able to kill him and make him fall into the river below. And the thugs got scared away when the bridge starts to get filled with villagers, who were prepared to fight back against Gato. When all the thugs are gone, and Zabuza is on the ground about to die, he asks Kakashi to bring him to Haku, which he does. So shortly after Kakashi brings Zabuza to Haku, he dies with a smile on his face. Minutes after the confrontation, Sasuke woke up since the reason he was knocked out was from a lack of blood, so they took him to get patched up. And since the person they needed to protect the bridge builder from was dead, they left. And the bridge was named the Naruto Bridge, and Naruto came up with his ninja way. Days after the mission, the Third Hokage tells team leaders to meet at his office, and he tells them about the upcoming Chunin exams. During the meeting, he asks Asuma, Kurenai, and Kakashi if they believe that their new genin could handle it, which they believe they can. While this meeting was going on, Konohamaru walked into a foreign shinobi, who then threatened to kill Konohamaru. So Naruto, trying to protect his friend, goes to punch him, but he trips on something, and before Konohamaru gets punched, Sasuke saves the day by making the foreign shinobi drop Konohamaru. But before this becomes an actual fight, another foreign shinobi appears, and he says that he's sorry for his teammates' behavior, and then the two walk away, with another female shinobi walking with them. So he skips in the next morning, and Kakashi tells Team 7 about the Chunin exams, and how it will take place in about a week. At first, Sakura was hesitant about wanting to take the exams, but after some persuasion, she decides to take it with the two of them. So he skips to the day of the exams, and when Team 7 gets to where they expect the exams to be, the hallway is full of people wanting to be let in. So they then look at the doorway, and they see two shinobi in the doorway, not letting anyone pass through. A couple minutes after they arrive, a fight almost starts in the hallway, but it gets quickly diffused by a guy with a bowl cut and in a green jumpsuit, who then sees Sasuke and he challenges him to a fight. At first, Sasuke declines the offer, but after Lee beats Naruto easily in the fight, he accepts the challenge. But he was also easily defeated by Rock Lee, even when he used his Sharingan. But before Lee did the last attack that would have finished off Sasuke, a turtle appeared out of nowhere, and to Team 7's surprise, it stopped the attack. And when Lee landed on the ground, he quickly ran to the turtle and said he was sorry. Then a poof of smoke appeared, and in that smoke appeared Might Guy, who then punches Lee for using a forbidden technique. Then the two cry and hug each other, and before Team 7 could leave, Guy asked them how his rival doing. It's then that they learn about how Kakashi and Guy are rivals. They also find out that apparently Guy is much faster and stronger than Kakashi. So now we skip to right before the actual test begins, and everything we skipped is the exact same as in the canon. When all the examinees walk into the exam room, it was full of desks. They then see their instructor Ibiki, who then tells them the rules of the exams, and that if you are caught cheating 5 times, the whole team will be disqualified. During the test after 45 minutes, Naruto wasn't able to figure out any of the questions. At one point, Hinata wanted to let him cheat off of her, but when Naruto saw someone behind him was caught cheating, it made him freak out. So he told Hinata that he could do it without her help. So when the test ended, the main instructor stood up and walked to the desk at the front of the room, and he told everyone that there is actually a 10th question, and that if you get it wrong, you will never be able to try the Chunin exams again. But there is a second option, which is if you want to, you can leave and try next year, but your whole team is disqualified. After some people leave the room, and when the main instructor believes that everyone who wanted to leave left, he then says that everyone that is in the room currently passed, because the question was, would you try even if you know you could fail forever? And that's where I'm going to leave the what if. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you next time on Something Z.